Welcome to SoulWhat, a Soultopia production. Every Tuesday, Michelle and Roger Welch take a deep dive into the intriguing and proactive world of metaphysics, a world beyond our human perception. They'll talk to empaths, readers, and other guests from all walks of life to find out what's hiding under the surface, uncover the mysteries of our modern world, and reveal the answers you need to live a happy, healthier life. Now, here's your hosts, Michelle and Roger Welch.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight at SoulWhat. Once again, we're on episode 178. So we're just clicking them along. And how are you doing today, Michelle?
I'm okay. How are y'all?
Good. Matt, you doing good?
I'm doing well. Yeah,
Awesome,
enjoying
awesome.
it. Sorry, I had to adjust my camera there a little bit.
And Matt missed out on the storm. We were we could in the swimming pool over here, and Matt got no rain at all, he said.
Yeah, no, I was I was working from home today. I saw it starting to get dark, and I heard the thunder, and I thought, well, I'm going to use this opportunity to take a break. I'm going to go sit outside under the awning and enjoy the storm, and it never happened. It just got dark, and it got windy a little bit, but I never saw any rain, so I guess it missed me.
Yeah. Wow. So make sure you're watching tonight. We are watching on YouTube if we make comments or anything like that. So make sure you're following and watching over there. Make sure you do hit the little bell and the like and the share columns. And what are we talking about tonight, Michelle?
Energy healings.
Really? What's
or
that?
Energy work. You're going to throw it right to me?
Yes.
So what we're going to talk about actually is the questions we get surrounding. Try to click through some questions and answer some of the questions we get about energy work or energy healing. First of all, just to start out with those terms, the healing part, healing, work, therapy. It really matters where you are, what state you're in, if there's any rules around or country, the words that you use. I go back and forth. We don't really have that much direction in Texas on what words to use to make that seem appropriate. Do you know what I'm getting at, Roger?
Yeah, they're probably still trying to figure out what it is in Texas.
Well, there's certain things that you can get licensed for. So like massage therapy, acupuncture, certain things like that, and not just get certificates. So you can actually get a license. And so using the word therapy, actually, from my research in Texas, could be, I would think that'd be less like a proclamation that you're healing someone than healing. But apparently therapy can be actually more of a dangerous word to use than healing.
Right.
So I go all around with that just to start out with just what we call it. And it just to let you know, it does depend on where you live as far as legally what you can call it. But tonight I think we're calling it, let's see, energy healings, do they really work? And the answer is yes. But an energy healing is there's a variety of kinds, some more popular and well-known than others. And we're really not going to touch so much on acupuncture and chiropractic work and massage. Those are the main ones where you're licensed or you get a license for those. You take a code of ethics.
Like, I guess when I think energy healing, I don't think of hands-on doctors pushing on you or something like that. But maybe I guess is all kind of fall under that a little bit?
A little bit, because it comes, all three of those to some extent come from more of an Eastern philosophy than a Western philosophy. So a lot of people will lump all those together.
Okay.
Yeah, but those are more like, even reflexology might be lumped in there.
So not Western medicine.
Not Western medicine.
Right.
And so, but what it is, energy healing is basically where we'll go over some different types, but where you're getting in the auric field. So we have our bodies, but then around us we have, if you've ever had an aura photo, right?
Yes.
And Roger can talk a lot about this because he does our aura chakra photos at the store. But we have like almost a template around our body. It's our auric field. It's our subtle bodies. And so really when you're doing energy work, you're getting in that space. You're getting in the aura, the auric or subtle body space, kind of your blueprint. And you don't necessarily have to touch the person when you're doing those healings, the ones that we're going to talk about. We'll name some of the ones we do. A big one is Reiki. And basically it's that you're getting in touch with like the universal energy of all. Mm-hmm. And so that the belief that you can move energy and clear things that are in your body, including like chakras that may be what a lot of people call blocked. I don't use that word, but overactive or underactive, and you can realign those. So that's one of the things, and there's different ways to do that. So that's kind of the easy. What would you add on to that for what an energy work is?
I think that's probably pretty much it. I don't think I'd add anything else to it, really. I mean, it's definitely like Matt was saying, even like hands-on type stuff. You got to think that's still kind of transferring energy, or like your healing energy that comes from one person's hands to the other person, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's right. The biggest thing, you know, with that, it could be any types of forms of that, of natural, other than taking a medicine for it.
So you're tapping into the life force. Like for Reiki, it's the ki, the chi, the life force, and that universal life force that all beings share.
Exactly.
Is the premise behind it. And I kind of flow these. I wrote down. I just kind of thought of like the top 21 questions we get asked, and they're not necessarily in a great order, but so some of these might kind of come up again. But Roger, if you want to take the second one, and does that answer if somebody asked you, Matt, like if you were to ask what's an energy healing? It's on your website. What does that mean? Does that kind of get you going? We're going to talk about the different kinds in a second, but does that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the concept, I think if you're somewhat familiar with these subjects, you're somewhat familiar with the concept. I had never seen it done until, I think we've talked about this on the show, but when you did your old show, that was the first time I'd ever seen anybody do that. You were in pain before the show started, and your co-host Megan did it, and I was like, what is going on? Like I couldn't. It was. It's not fair to say weird, but I'd just never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening?
It can be.
And
weird.
you did the show, and I don't know how you felt during the show, but I never knew that anything had happened. And you told me later, like, oh, I was feeling terrible, and
I was screaming before and right before the show, and then Megan is a great energy worker, and it's Megan Benanti, and she worked on me, and then got back in the car, came here, and was screaming. Roger came and was like, yeah, and that's when I had to have surgery for my first kidney stone, right? So, so yeah.
But that to me looked like what I would think of if I were to imagine energy healing, which was you were laying down, she was kind of not touching you, but just sort of like, holding her hands over you, and it was interesting, you know. Right. It was the first time I'd seen that happen outside of like maybe like a movie or something like that,
right.
Or a show.
And so it really works. I'm living proof that it works. I'm also living proof that when you don't get it as much, and this is kind of why I wanted to do the show, or we did, is because everybody seems to be getting readings now. They want information, but we have a lot of good at Soultopia, a lot of good energy workers or healers that do different modalities. I'm one, Roger's one, and then we have a lot of others that can work on you in a variety of ways. And I think that that's really very important, especially when you're working really hard, you're stressed, any stress, anxiety, because we're holistic people, anything. And some of the methods that we're going to talk about, there is scientific proof that it relaxes, just like meditation. It will relax you. It will ease your anxiety. It will take away stress, yoga, those things that kind of get you into that meditative space. And then those can be applied to energy workers or energy healings too. It's kind of all ties together, right?
Yep.
So you want to go to
number 2?
Yeah.
So
I'll go through these questions, and if y'all have any, please ask them
yes,
by all
definitely.
means. But we might cover them. So
We are watching the YouTube comments. So
Yeah.
go find us over there.
So who do you work with? Guides, and do you have to be spiritual?
Okay, so that's a question I always recommend people ask anybody that they work with. So if you go get a reading, I would ask. Actually, I was on a show last time I was on, I think it was Coast to Coast, and I said, next time you get a reading, make sure you ask the person reading for you or healing, who do you work with? Where do you get your information from? Where do you get your abilities from? And I did a reading that next week or whenever it was, and the first question out of the lady's mouth was, And I knew she'd watched Coast to Coast, and
Uh-huh.
she told me, she said, may I ask, where do you get your information from? I was like,
Someone
oh,
told
I'm so
me.
proud of
Someone
you.
told me.
Yeah, I mean, it's so great. You
Nice.
listened to the show, and you actually did it. So my answer, Roger, you may be different. For me, sometimes I work with guides. It depends on the healing, because I have my own kind of healing that I do that maybe we'll talk about. It's called Stellar Gateway. It builds on Reiki. I think Reiki's the fundamental, kind of like piano and violin. It's where you start.
Yep.
And so I will call in my guide, Raziel. It's an archangel, one of the major archangels, to help on that. But I don't think that you have to be spiritual, or the person giving you Reiki, for instance, has to be a spiritual person per se for it to work. That's my opinion. What do you think about it, Roger?
I think I agree with that. I think you probably also want to maybe connect with the person. I mean, you probably wouldn't want Ted Bundy giving you Reiki energy, the Ted Bundy energy into
No, I
that,
would
right?
not.
So, I mean, I think you probably, I agree with what you're saying, but you probably also kind of want to feel good about the person you're getting energy work done with.
Do they have to have any spiritual or religious? And I know there's
No,
a difference.
I don't. No, because I think that's something that's different, something totally different than just your energy healing types modalities that are out there.
So that's where you can distinguish between like faith healings, if you've heard of those, where and I'm not making fun of any like Pentecostal church. I grew up in them, but where you get the be healed and faith-based healing versus this energy work. That a lot of people who do energy work or they're energy healers may come from some sort of religious background or spiritual background, but it's not the same thing as like faith-based healing. There are some differences
Yeah.
in that.
So what am I supposed to get out of that question, though? Like, if I ask that to somebody?
Oh, well, the first part is, well, what if somebody said that I channel Satan?
Uh-huh.
You'd be like, okay, let's keep going. No, I'm kidding. But I mean,
would you just get up and leave, or would you just say, okay, I see
I
where
think it
you're
would be
coming
your
from?
comfort level.
it's your
Yeah, okay.
it's your comfort level. And if a reading, if somebody's giving you a reading, and because a lot of people can tap into vibration, and they'll tap into whatever and there's no judgment here. It's just your own judgment, what you're comfortable with. They'll get information, and they'll get information to, let's say, give readings, or even do healing work, and potentially it's not so much the way they behave themselves, but maybe they've tapped into, no matter what, I just want to be really good at healing, kind of selling my soul out to whomever, whatever entity wants to help me, then that can help me. And I don't, for me at least personally, want just anybody working on me. I usually could probably, because my intuition pick up on it pretty quickly if I don't like a vibe of somebody, but that's why. Because what if somebody said something that you just totally don't agree with? But that's the kind of homework you might want to do ahead of time too.
Yeah.
And we get to that question of how you find a good energy worker. But that's a good question, because what if they did say something? Okay, and what if they say, I work with Joe Schmo, and you're like, okay, well, give me my reading. I mean, as long as you feel your comfort level feels good, I don't think you have to understand it. That's not why you're asking the question, but you're asking the question, especially if you have strong opinions about certain things and you don't want certain energies around you.
Yeah.
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 So to clarify, I think that'd be why the question would be important.
think
Because some
so.
people so much want to get the answers and be good at giving psychic readings or intuitive readings or healings that they will tap into things that other people might not want to be in their energetic field or their space. So it's good to ask.
Yep.
But if you don't have a clue what they're saying back to you, it's not like you should leave just because you don't know. You probably don't have a good, strong
So
feeling about
here's a great question then.
that. Okay.
Let's say you get a bad vibe from that person after their answer. How do you tell them I got a bad vibe with you and don't want the healing
Okay,
with them?
I would just say, first of all, it's probably best to do it ahead of time. But if you have waited till you do it then, and I think hopefully the reader, something all of us as readers should maybe put more in our descriptions of what we're doing, who we get in touch with. I get in touch with my higher self often just to get ego out of the way. It's not like I'm, getting it from any one particular guide or anything. But I think what you would say is, you know what, I'm going to have to reschedule. I mean, I think honesty is the best policy. I mean, just say, you know, I don't know that we're in alignment with this, you know, but it would need to be done at the very beginning of the reading, because I could see some people scamming you. You know, you do a whole healing and then they're like, oh, who do you get in touch with? Okay, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely things you would talk about up front before you actually got a reading or healing.
But it's something you want to take seriously, because let's say if we believe it works, which I do, then why is it any different than you checking out a doctor or a chiropractor, which is kind of included, even though they are more licensed and have to abide by certain ethical codes. Those are things you're going to probably check out. You're probably going to get a referral or something like that before you go. So it's just those sorts of things.
And I guess to that point, I wouldn't expect any decent doctor to be upset about you asking for references or anything like that. And you would expect the same if somebody is in this line of work, to not be surprised if you ask them certain questions about their background or what they use or whatever. And if they do have a problem with that, then maybe that should be a red flag.
Definitely.
I think that's a great point. I'm so glad you said that, because I totally think if they're surprised or they don't want to tell you, or they've never even thought about where they get their information, or they're irritated, then I think it's a huge red flag. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And it's also just good to know if they've really even thought about it. Where they even get their information from, and maybe they don't know, and that's fair too. They just may have it, and they've had it their whole life, but that goes to it doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual.
Right.
And the next question we have. Oh, do you have any more
Nope.
that you want?
Go ahead.
Okay, so again, like I said, these are skipping around a lot, but one of the biggest questions we get is, does remote healing work? Now, what remote healing is. So you're not coming into our office, you're not coming into Soultopia. You live in New York City, you want to get a healing from Roger. You've heard he's really great, and he is, with singing bowl healings, but you live in New York. So there's a thing, and it's called remote healing. And the question is, well, I don't know, that just doesn't feel like it would work as well. It does. And that premise or thought comes from the universal consciousness, tapping into the universal life force. It comes from Reiki, and it really doesn't matter where you are, because you can tap into the energy of the other person by tapping into that universal life force. Where I say to be careful on that is, I think it's good if you're going to do it. I send pictures. Sometimes it's actually more work for the healer to do it remotely, or even reader, because by the time you type everything up, or you record it, or you do all the things to show them, look, I did a crystal healing on you, and here's all the crystals I used, this is where I placed them. That's not stuff you would necessarily explain to them during a healing if they were present, but you would, I just like to let them know that I'm actually doing it, because I've been with people where this is where fraud comes in. I've been with readers, not any of ours, that literally are doing readings while they're shopping, and they just put the person on mute, basically. Two people I know from the past have done that, and so that's another thing with the remote healing. I would like to, most of the people who come to me, most of them know me, but until they do, I would send them a photo, or I would give them a little bit of, okay, this is what I did. And there's two schools of thought. I like the person to stay still, and I don't think it takes any more than, for my healings, about 15 or 30 minutes. I'm only doing them at 45 just because you come in and you talk a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But I like them to know that I've actually done it, that I'm not sitting there watching TV. So I ask them, this is the time. Please be still during this time. Put your feet up, relax if you can. But they don't have to. But for me, I prefer that, for them to receive it.
And somebody did ask a little question, just to be clear. They work, and there's a couple of ways. You can straight up do it remotely, where each person's not even in communication or anything. You could do it by phone. You could also do it by either FaceTime or Zoom, some version of video, right? And you even you said, because like I've done a few even singing bowl healings on people by phone. And what I've done, I actually just set my phone down, call them, set my phone down, kind of like where the person would be laying down, put the bowls around the phone, but then I have them lay down and put their phone on speakerphone and put it on their chest. And then I'll play through the bowls, and they're like literally laying there, and the sound's still coming through.
So they can really
phone.
feel that frequency and the vibration, because everything we know, I talk about it all the time, is energy. And since we're all energy, that's why another reason that distance healing works. So they can really feel that. But if you're just the crystals or something like that, they may not be able to feel that unless sometimes they may not even, if some people can feel the vibration of crystals and some people can't when they're even come into the office or into the store. But it's a really good idea, I think, to at least, until they really know you. I mean, I have people that I get in touch with, and I'm like, I need healing. Here's the other thing, is a lot of people will say, oh yeah, I'll send you love, enlightened energy healing. I don't usually believe that when they're typing it on, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. I know the couple of people who say that, and they really will do it. But that's just an aside where, don't write that unless you really mean it.
What? I thought I really did.
You're be in my thoughts and prayers, and then 5 seconds. Thoughts and prayers, and which I do is if I'm going to write that, I stop right then. I say either a prayer, I set an intention, or I do some sort of healing if that's their belief system.
Yep.
Instead of saying, I'll do it later, because I don't want to be a liar. Right?
Yeah.
Does it help if it's cooperative in that way? Like the other person is participating, or can it be one-sided where you're just sending?
It can be one-sided. I think it helps when the other person is receiving, but the other person, one of the questions that I wrote that I get is, do they have to believe it for it to work? Like, believe in the power of this. I do not believe that they have to believe in what you're doing, so for it to work.
Yeah.
So that would be really, it might be that the cumulative energy, the synergistic effect of both of you believing it would be stronger. But just because somebody comes who's absolutely skeptical, and then they benefit from, they literally feel the fire from your hands, because that's how your hands feel when you've had an attunement for Reiki. We all can do it. Anybody, even if you haven't taken Reiki, you can send healing through your hands. But it charges up. It's like a light turns on when you get these attunements. And that's another thing I want to add, is when we talk about how much it costs. So I want to say I don't think it should cost as much, except for the people's time. Because if we really believe it works, then why aren't we using it more? And why, it's charge for your time and stuff like that. But why aren't we telling everybody about it? And that's why I wanted to do another show on it, kind of off the subject again. But yeah.
So, all right. So you're doing it remotely. Some people are going to feel it. Some people aren't going to feel it. For those that don't feel it, is there any words of wisdom for them? I mean, is it just...
Right. You don't need to feel it. We need to follow up and tap in maybe a day later. And I'll tell you some of the things, like drink water, just like a massage that you might want to do afterwards. But you may feel a little tired. But you may not feel, even when I go in person to some people, I don't feel it right away. I have certain people that you and certain people here that I like to do energy work on me, but my words of wisdom would be, find a reputable healer, and then note whether or not you feel like it has helped at all. And that, because a lot of times you're not going to feel anything, and that's not just because it's a remote or distance healing. That's because even if you were with someone, you might not feel anything. You might just get sleepy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of them crying on me.
You do?
Start crying, yeah.
Well, that's like
But
an
a
emotional
releasing,
release.
yeah, emotional releasing and crying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a lot of it, because we're holistic. Whatever that tone is that you're talking about when you're doing your singing bowls, yeah, they'll have like an emotional release.
Yep.
And that's good, but not everybody has to cry to get to know that you're getting the benefits from it.
Right.
So
So how often should somebody get energy work done?
Okay, so that's a really good question, because for one thing, I get asked that almost every time. So it'd be really easy to say, well, you need to come back every day, or you need to buy a package for 20, or you need to buy a package for 10. I'm not saying I'll never sell a package for maybe 3 healings or 3 readings or something like that. We haven't done it in forever, though. But I think it's somewhat unethical. I always tell people, come back when you feel like you need it. I did ask a couple of healers, Mary Gates, who works here, being one of them, and she said she advises once a month, but it is case by case. There are times when you can have one energy session and you're better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it worked. And we'll talk about working on chakras, but that's a whole show. Okay, we've had a bunch of shows on chakras, but as far as how often, a red flag, as you mentioned, Matt, to me would be when somebody's trying to tell you need to come back all the time. It's going to take 10 sessions of these for you to feel better, or all those. For me, I just say, we might not be able to fix this in one session, but I'm not going to tell them I have never told somebody, I don't think I've ever said to anybody, you need to book another appointment before you leave.
Yeah.
For me, I don't do that. Do I think that it would be good for us, all of us? Yes, I do. To do it more often, like probably once a month.
Yeah. I tell people, I tell people the same thing. It's like, then they ask, when should I come back? Come back when you feel like you need this again. Because I have some people, they'll come once a month. I have some that come once every 6 months. When you get to that point, you're like, I feel like I need this done. Call me, text me, we'll get you set up and get you in and get you all set up, get it done again.
I think that for anyone who hasn't had one in a long time or hasn't been doing them regularly, I will say that it's what has been coming to me intuitively a lot lately that we're missing out on.
Yep.
I think that, as much as Roger and I work, and I know Matt works, I think it's very, very important. People talk about self-care. Yeah, you can go get your hair done, whatever it is. You can go golfing, whatever you do. That's good, and that's healing too. But I really do believe energy work, it's imperative to keep a healthy auric field. We have a thing called quickie clearings, and they started when a lot of people around this, where the Carrollton location is, wanted to come during their lunch hour. So how much is it for a quickie?
$10.
It's $10, and you come in. It's like
It's like 3 to 5 minutes.
We use a couple crystals, some spray, and a tuning fork, and boom, we're just clearing off the ick off of you, and people feel a lot better afterwards, and they really do enjoy those. That to me doesn't replace a complete healing, but they're really good if you don't have time for something else.
Those are good for
better
the
than
quick,
nothing.
just a quick fix.
It's more like car maintenance, it sounds like.
Yeah. And if that's all you are going to do at least do that. So,
I mean, do you need to have something specific that you want to work on whenever you come for an actual, healing session? Do you need to be like, I'm feeling this, I need this, or can it just be, I don't know, I haven't done this before, so just do whatever, or how does that work?
You do not have to have something specific. Yeah. You can just say, you know what, I just want kind of a tune-up. I mean, I haven't had it, or this is new to me. Could you sort of explain what you're doing? And that's some of the questions. But you do not, what were you saying, Matt? What? I got off the question.
Have a specific issue that you want addressed?
No, you don't.
I assume
really.
You can have one, but if you don't, I just want to see I want to feel it and see how it works for me.
Yes, and you may have something that while they're working on you, you may be like, they may say something to you, or at least I talk.
Got something.
And exactly. But I talk and say, oh, whoa, has something happened with you? Your right hip over here, and your knee feels, so in that way you may discover something. Not that we're doctors, because we're not, but something during it. That even if you came and just were getting a general maintenance of your chakras. Chakras are the energy kind of vortexes in our body. This is Eastern medicine, Eastern philosophy that we've adopted in the West. And there's 7 main ones, starting at your root chakra, your base, that go up to the top of your head, and they're the colors of the rainbow, like Roy G. Biv. They're like spinning. They're not real. I mean, they're real, but they're not like your doctor's going to see them on an X-ray. And so those are the things a lot of times you could come in and you'll see, if you look at people who offer healings, even for Reiki, they'll talk about chakras, and you can get those in alignment.
Yep.
And it's real easy for us to turn. For me, I can intuitively use a pendulum. I mean, I can know pretty quickly when somebody is out of balance in one of their chakras. Again, a lot of people will call that blockage. I don't like that, because I want to know, is the chakra overactive or is it underactive? I don't think they're usually blocked. I think they're just either not spinning good. So an example of that would be like your sacral chakra. It's your creativity, it's your passion, it's your sexuality. If somebody was addicted to porn, they may be overactive. And if they just had no desire at all for anything passion-wise, sexuality, and there's no medical reason, then that may be underactive and something you could work on.
Yeah.
Went straight for the most interesting one. Right
Yeah, she did. And actually, we can, because when I do the aura photography, that does come with like a report, and that is part of the report that comes in with the chakras it shows.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things I have to explain to people, because with the chakras in the report, it comes on 2 different reports, but one of them is a scale from 1 to 10, and it's not about, oh, let me see if I can max this out to 10. It's really about keeping things in alignment, keep things balanced. So you might have like 5s and 6s, and then have 1 at 1, And so that's where they need to work. And it's not, and I explain to people, you hear that term as a blocked chakra, but that's not correct, because your chakras spin. So like if you put your thumb on your heart chakra, and it should spin the direction your fingers are going. And if you got a 1, it means it's just barely spinning. It's not really going its full potential. But then if you have maybe a 10, that would mean it's spinning way faster than the other chakras. Right. And then you also have what's called muddy chakras, kind of what's called a muddy color into it. And that's more, instead of spinning in a circular, it's more of an oval shape. It's kind of off balance. It's not really good in good alignment. So you need work on it to bring it back in alignment to get it spinning smoothly.
Right, so the energy can flow like literally like a battery up and down your whole, from your root chakra actually to the Earth Star, which is below your feet, all the way up to even higher chakras. But the 7 primary ones, and I see the colors a lot associated with them. I say anybody can, in the new book I have coming out, I say it's really easy to do intuition. If you get your chakras down, and your clairs, like clairvoyance and all that, and then your colors down, aura. And you learn those 3 subjects. And you really don't have to ever do much more to learn how to do almost any type of intuitive healing or reading, because the crystals go with that and everything else. So how do I find a reputable healer? So I think it's word of mouth. I think you just have to do your due diligence like you do anything else. Especially if you're going to do something online, I would look at if they make promises like they're going to cure you, overpromise if they are cost is interesting, because again, it's the time they have and the overhead they have. So I don't really try to get judgy with people on what they're charging, unless somebody's getting a healing and all of a sudden they ask you to come back and they tell you have a curse on you and they want $10,000 or even $5,000, $1,000, whatever, to get that curse off of you. We're dipping into the area of fraud with either the readings or energy work. But to find a reputable healer, come here. Come to Soultopia, or we can recommend a lot of other reputable healers. Our friend Neil is great, and he works with me a lot. And when I can get in to see him, because he's always booked and sold out, I do healings. Roger does healings. Linda up in Frisco. Almost everybody who works for us does some sort of healing. So at Soultopia, and they're we turn most people down that work for us. It takes a while to get to be a healer. Yeah, we take it very seriously. So
exactly.
Go ahead.
How long have people been doing energy healings?
Okay, so how long do y'all think? If you're listening, forever. Think about it.
6 million years.
Healing,
6 million years.
Hands-off healing, faith healing. It's been around. It's not some new, people like it's woo, it's new age, it's all that. No, most new age stuff is really pretty old stuff. So it's been around for a really, really long time. And people there's shamanic healing, And shamanic, Munay-Ki, I'm certified in that. And I don't offer it. I just am certified in it because I wanted to experience it. It was 9 sessions, and I'm also certified to attune people to Munay-Ki, which is a type of shaman type work. But I'm not a shaman, and I don't claim to be one. But that's another type of healing. It's really, really a neat kind of healing. I think we've said we're going to have that certification here soon.
Yeah.
So.
Number 7.
Oh, okay. How do you clear energy? Okay, so that's really broad. So that's kind of what we're talking about with the quickie clearings or with anything you come in. So if, let's say, you just haven't had any energy work or healing in a long time. There's so many ways to clear energy. Okay, so energy can get stagnant. It can get muddy. It can get just kind of icky. You can get things attached to you. It happens a lot. So you can clear the energy with sounds, with affirmations, with your hands in the not even touching someone. You can clear the energy. You can use crystals to clear energy. All types of ways to clear. And a lot of people will get really, really picky between. They'll call and they'll say they want a clearing versus what's the other word? It starts with a C. I can't remember. To me, it all just is kind of the same thing. In all these different ways, whether you're using music or you're using like singing bowls or you're using crystals, it's really what you prefer and what you want to work with or what you want to go and get the healing from. Like, for instance, the singing bowls, if somebody really knows how to play them, I enjoy it. If they are just clanging on them and they don't know what they are doing, it will totally get on my nerves. So that's it. So it's just picking how do you clear energy. There's all different ways, but you can pick the modality you want to learn, and then when you are going to get one, pick what sounds interesting to you. Like, it sounds relaxing for me to get Dawn, who's helping me edit my book, she does, I think it's like raindrop essence oil aromatherapy, and she's certified to do that, and that sounds relaxing to me, so I would love to do that. So it just depends on which kind, as far as when you're choosing. I think they all work basically, I know. They all work the same, you're just using a different tool to utilize that. And do you have to use a tool? No, you can just use your hands. Just the energy from your hands. I've always tell people this, it's in my books, but if you put your hands like close together, like about match, if you put this like 2 inches apart, seriously. Roger, will you do it? Okay, can you feel, everybody listening, can you feel the heat between your hands?
Yeah.
Okay, now take them out a little bit more. And if you get to where you can't feel the heat, then pull your hands back together. But this is like a chi ball. So eventually you can start shaping that energy. And that you can literally feel the energy between your hands. Yeah? Okay. So that's one of the ways you know that it's real. I mean, that it's really there. And in class,
what do I do?
You could throw
it at somebody?
Yeah, you can actually. We used to do that in class. So you can throw it, or you can actually say, okay, I intend this to, my stomach hurts, and you could just like put it there and visualize your stomach healing with that energy. Okay.
So do certain types of healings work better on certain types of issues? Like, is there one that works better on this versus one that works better on
Roger, you want to take that?
Yes, I think there is, because if you were doing, let's say somebody's just their energy was just kind of stagnant feeling, kind of draining feeling. It's probably something that would probably be a lot to do with like their auric field around them, just carrying other people's crud around with them. Okay, so you might do something with that where you're actually maybe clearing their auric field. Whereas, Michelle's kidney stones, I mean, multiple times I've put the singing bowls actually on her kidneys and play the singing bowls because those vibrate and they vibrate into the body. So they help with the vibrations of helping to clear those kidney stones through.
Because that's what they do when they put you under. They break up that kidney, like it's a laser. They shake that kidney stone to break it up. So you can use the vibration to do that. Yeah. So it might, but if you're like really just like wanting to start and try an energy work, I would just go to somebody that does Reiki, or crystals are interesting. I use crystals too. It's just whatever, and I don't add on for those or anything. It's just whatever I am drawn to do at the time, but I'll always explain to the person that I'm working on, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Always, especially if they want like an eye covering on, I'm always explaining, this is where I am. If I won't touch you generally unless I touch your shoulders or the back of your neck maybe, or your knee, just so you know where I am, because sometimes you'll feel like there's people all around you, because it may be that guides come in, or just the energy feels all around. I've had healings, and I've had people tell me this with me, where they swore somebody was at the bottom of their, like the massage table at the bottom of their feet, but nobody was down there.
Yeah.
So, and it happens, and it can be a trip, and it's a pretty cool one, and you don't need any medication to do it. You don't.
Right.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't try any of that. I mean, I really just don't know about all that. But you don't have to do that to get an energy healing.
Right. What about, is science-based? Is it science-based at all?
Totally. So because of vibration. It's quantum mechanics. It's quantum physics. So more and more people are saying it. More and more hospitals are recognizing it. It's great for... because the energy and everything's vibrations, everything oscillates, so that means it vibrates, it moves, like you were talking about. You can just feel it more with a singing bowl. Then because everything vibrates and everything is energy, then that's why it's scientific, because everything really comes back to that.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So, should it replace my doctor? No. No.
Still go to your doctor.
Go to your doctor. This is what's the word I'm looking for? It's
a helper.
an addition to what you're already doing. And you can even tell your doctor that I'm doing this, and they may be like, oh, whatever. But it should not harm you in any way. We'll get into that in a second. Unless somebody intends you harm, that's why you really, well, let's go into it right now. That's why that you really want to find out who you're going to and who they work with, because you might not want something put on you that if we believe in energy and we believe some energy is kind of icky, and it doesn't mean that the person you go to has to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. So just because that energy worker doesn't have to have the highest vibration in the world, but you want them to set the intention that they have a clear, they're working not from their ego, not from their physical selves, but from some higher purpose, higher level self or being, so that, because we can't be perfect. None of us would be able to do energy work. And if you had to only went to a doctor because they were perfect, you never go to a doctor. But does this replace doctors? No. Do I claim to in any way be trained in the medical field? No. Do I receive messages, psychic, intuitive messages while I'm doing it? I do. But this should never replace your doctor.
Right.
And I don't think probably any energy worker that cares at all about doing the right thing would tell you to have it replace your doctor. I would be very shocked.
Yeah, exactly.
They might
Nobody
say
should.
Reconsider this, or maybe you might want to try an alternative doctor, but they would never tell you to just get energy work and you shouldn't go to a doctor.
Right.
That's very dangerous.
It is. So let's talk a little bit here. Take a break from your questions.
Okay.
I know because time is clicking along, but let's talk about our products, because we have
Okay.
two different things that each week we talk about. One is at each location, we actually have our staff members go through and pick some of their weekly favorite products. So here's what I've got first. This is actually from Frisco. Lacey picked this out. These are the Soul Sticks Cinnamon Incense. This is the cinnamon ones. ones she picked out.
Oh,
She
pretty
says she
picture.
really likes these. And I know why, because the way these soul sticks are made, you actually have the bamboo stick, but the incense is not like a traditional incense where they oil dip it. It actually is cinnamon on the stick.
Oh, cool.
So any of the soul sticks are actually resins or herbs where they grind it down to a powder. And that's why when you look at it, you can see the cinnamon floating around in the bag a little bit. See up there? They're just 100% natural and organic.
Yeah.
And these are
Nice, Bella.
great. Yeah. Those are great. That's a great
Smells
product
good.
there
It's
for
light.
sure.
It's not like that toxic hits you really hard. It's
Yeah,
very
there's no
light
chemical
smell.
ads. It's 100% organic. And then here in the Carrollton location, Aspen, if y'all haven't met Aspen, come by.
It's great.
She really loves the Soul Princess Diana bracelet.
too.
You guys see that? Okay.
Yeah,
you got the
that
picture?
picture's
There you
good.
go.
Yeah.
And on the tag, it says, every one of us needs to show how much we care for each other and, in the process, care for others.
That's a quote from Lady
That's a
Di.
that's a quote, yes.
Love that bracelet. So it's rose quartz and pearls. on
Rose
that.
quartz and 3 pearls. That's right. And
And they are real pearls, if y'all are wondering.
Antonio at our Bishop Arts location, he's really loving the Witch's Wisdom Tarot.
A lot of people do.
Yeah, this is by Phyllis Corritt, and artwork's done by Danielle Barlow. Super cool cards. They actually it is a traditional tarot deck, but it has that witchy wisdom feel to it. The cards, if you look on the back here, is actually pretty cool. They actually show some of the cards, and it's got a lot of different varieties of designs of that witchy pagan look to it.
It's published by Hay House.
Published by Hay House, yeah. You knew what I was looking for. I was like, wait, it's published by Hay House. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a cool deck, though. Y'all can check out. We do have all these products at all 3 locations, but those are the Soultopians products picks of the week.
I
Though.
love those. And thank you to everyone who chose those, and I guess Mary for putting that together, and Matt for putting the pictures up and getting that all done. Thank you all.
Sure.
So all those are available at all 3 stores.
Yeah, all 3
Right?
stores have
Let's
it.
do a few more questions.
Yep.
Click through them.
And then we have that too.
All right, so we'll go fast.
Okay.
I've
Do you
already answered. Do you have to believe in it to benefit from it? I think no.
No.
Why do energy healers tend to gain weight around their midsection? Because they're protecting. So
I didn't know
you'll
that was a
notice.
thing. Yeah.
What?
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. It is. And so a lot of times, like right around your midsection, a lot of people who don't know that it's a thing, they'll start doing energy work, or they'll even start readings or doing any kind of anything that we do, and all of a sudden they'll start getting a little something around their stomach, their belt's tighter or whatever, and that's because they're not using other forms of protection. You should use protection always when you're working on someone. Number one, I mean, you want your energy to go through to them. Let's say if you're doing Reiki, but you don't want all your crap to go through to them. And you don't want their crap to come jump on you either. So you're going to put up some barriers between the 2 of you, and that way you also don't take home like a sponge as a healer all their stuff. And if you, the way some people don't take it home is they end up gaining a lot of weight.
Yep.
And I've actually advised people how to lose some of that weight. Not that weight's bad, but if you put it on and you don't even know why, I'll say, like, when did you start reading or when did you start doing energy work? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, okay, this is what you need to start doing, like tourmaline, other forms of protection that we've talked about on other shows, so that you don't take that on as a padding and you'll notice just people. Now that I've said it, if you never know, you'll start noticing that they do, especially if they're newer to it.
I've been training my whole life to be a healer, I guess.
No. So let's see.
Should the healer take on the energy?
So no. There was the John of God lights. I won't get up with. That's a whole thing we could do on the. We don't use the John of God lights. And he was. I'm not sure if he was convicted of all the things he was accused of, but I never felt comfortable with those lights. I do love using color and lights, and I do a healing with that, with the colors changing, like the chakras, and the music changing. It's very relaxing. You wear headphones. But the John of God lights is a guy from Brazil. He would actually like reach in. There's videos where you can see he'll like reach in and like do something to somebody's heart. I mean, seriously, it's freaky. But you don't want to heal someone so badly, this is ego, that you, like, I've got to make this person better. So you take on their illness. That's just actually kind of playing God in a way. And that's not what your job is as a healer. So no, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And that is sort of what he did. There are healers that will take on things. Some shamans will take on things, but they are specifically trained to know how to do that. And and just for the record, shamanism started all the way back with Siberia, like at the beginning of like recorded humankind.
Yep.
Yeah. So shamanism, that's where it really originated. Okay, was in Siberia.
Siberia, that's right.
Okay, so do any well-known hospitals, this is interesting, use energy healing? The answer is yes. For trauma victims and fire burn victims. So trauma meaning you don't want to be touched because something traumatic happened to you, or you can't be touched because you've been in a fire or you've been burned badly. So Memorial Sloan Kettering does acupuncture, which is the broader kind, and there were a lot more than these, but Mayo Clinic offers Reiki. So a lot of places offer Reiki now in their hospitals. And for pain, to lower people's stress before surgery, and instead of giving like Valium or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's a placebo effect?
It can be a placebo effect. I think anything can be. We know that it does lower your stress. It lowers these healing methods lower your stress. They lower your anxiety. Is it going to heal something? I would never tell somebody I'm going to heal this on you, some disease, but it could contribute holistically to your body feeling more rested and feeling better. Could there be a placebo effect of some sort? Sure, but if it works, hey, I'll take it. Right?
Can I throw one in here that's not on your list? I was just thinking about,
yeah.
And I think because, do you think somebody could do energy healing on themselves?
Yes, absolutely.
And the reason I say that is because you know, with the placebo effect, if you remember back when Mike was having some challenges with his blood pressure. Remember, we did the stuff with him and gave him the crystals for blood pressure and told him to work on it himself with it. And his blood pressure actually really did go down.
Yeah, so it's in like Reiki 1. When you take the first certification course for Reiki, which is Universal Life Force is Reiki, a lot of what you learn is actually working on yourself, like doing self-healing on yourself before you do healing on others. So absolutely.
Yeah. So we're not going to make through them all because we only got like 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So we're going to do our trivia question for the night.
Can I just say one thing?
And then we'll let you, while we're asking trivia question, then we'll let you do another question or two.
Okay,
while they're
because there's a
answering.
couple of, I want to
Okay.
say.
So our trivia question tonight, and the winner will get a bracelet. Okay.
Okay.
Trivia question, though, for the night is going to be name one Soultopian healer. That's all I got to do. Name a Soultopian healer.
watch it.
And we're watching it, so the first one to name a Soultopian healer wins a bracelet tonight. Now go with your question you're going to ask.
Okay, so I was just going to say what typically happens. We're not going to go all through that, but do you keep your clothes on? Yes. Your clothes on, that's a big question. You're not getting a massage unless you're actually getting a massage.
Nobody does that here.
Clothes on healing. Nobody does Soultopia. So if you ever go anywhere where they're having you take your clothes off to get Reiki, don't do that unless you're actually getting massage. I do give intuitive messages, but don't expect everyone to give you like a reading or things they pick up every time you go for Reiki. Many times in Reiki share circles, you're not even allowed to speak. Okay, so that's another thing. And
What the heck, Leslie? You're supposed to name me, not Mary.
I was going to say, nobody said Roger.
I know.
A lot of right answers in there, but nobody said Roger.
Yeah,
No, you got it.
You
one.
got one in there.
But Leslie, I'm tempted not to give it to you.
So
now.
here's a good question for follow up with that. Should I stick with only one healer? Like, are you cheating on a healer if you go to another person? And will the treatments interfere with one another? I don't think the treatments would interfere, but I certainly think it's just fine to try out different healers, just like you do readers. Just again, get do your due diligence and get references and all that kind of stuff, and they should be able to give those to you and shouldn't care at all that you're asking. And I think it's great to give different types of healings. Afterwards, you might feel a little tired or answers. This is important. Is my session covered by HIPAA? No, it's not. And is it confidential legally? Actually, no. Should the person keep it confidential, anything that was said or done? Yes. But is it legally, unless they're under some code of ethics, like massage, acupuncture, one of those? A reader or a lot of people don't think about this. But they'll say they're going to keep it confidential, but it's not really legally. There's no client-patient privilege. The only way that might come in is if all of our healers and readers are supposed to have the minister's license from the Universal Life Church. In that regard, you could have a confidentiality privilege under the law if because of a pastor patient or pastor parishioner or whatever privilege, okay? But you are not, when you go get Reiki from somebody, unless they're a doctor or something like that, don't just think that somebody couldn't come subpoena that information if it was written down. So I never take notes, just so you know, or on my readings either. And I think I will answer. Can an energy worker hurt me? No. Well, yes, they can. They can put things on you that's real, like what I mean by put things on you is if they're working with, like they could put a hook in you. They could put, and I don't want, it's bad to leave on this. We need to do a whole nother show on this one, but just make sure you check out who you're going to, and honestly, just come to Soultopia. And if you want a different kind, we'll find for you and refer you to different places in town where they have the kind of healing you want if we don't offer it. Because we're very picky about ethics here. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Woo!
so a
That was
couple
like a
more,
race.
because we got like 2 minutes. Products of the week.
Okay, so you want to show them?
All right, so first product of the week is our incense. So we do an incense, a crystal, and a bracelet each week. So product of the week is the Satya Namaste incense and Namaste
Let me smell it.
incense. All right, so those are buy one, get one free, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
And you can get any kind free, right?
Yeah, well, you buy that one, you get equal to or lesser value for free.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to get both of them in the Namaste one. And then the crystal of the week is gray agates. Okay, they're, well, here we go. You kind of see the banding on that, I hope, maybe, possibly.
Remember,
so these
agates
are gray
for
banded.
protection, the
Yep.
oldest known forms of protection.
And what do you got over there?
And I've got the bracelet of the week is Jeremiel or Jeremiah. Do you want to hold it up? And if you can read the back, that'd be great.
Okay, so it's an amethyst bracelet, actually. So it is Mercy of God, helps with forgiveness, personal change, and emotion. Amethyst and hematite. So that is a bracelet of the week. And Leslie did win. Leslie, you can either pick either one of the bracelets, which is the bracelet of the week, which is the Archangel Jeremiel, or the Princess Diana bracelet. Just let us know when you want to
Let's
come
go
pick
together.
it up.
You might want both.
Yeah. And the bracelets are buy one, you get 25% off, right?
Don't ask me.
I think it's 25% off on the bracelets, but the crystals buy one, get one, and the Namaste incense is buy one, get one. All right, that's what we got. What else you got over there?
That's it.
That's it.
That is going through as fast as the most questions I could think of that we get asked. So we didn't tell you, obviously, everything about all kinds of Reiki's, one kind of energy healing, the singing bowls, crystal healings. I offer what's called stellar gateway healings, and that's a whole different subject. But, they work. They're really, really wonderful. And I work with Archangel Raziel when I do those. So, but, yeah, we offer them here, and I say it's very important to and I'm talking to myself too, to make sure that we get these more regularly. I would be more healthy if I did. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we're over. So we
We're-
don't have time to do the card 1, 2, 3. Right?
Do you want to do it real quick?
I'm asking you and Matt.
We'll do it real quick. So, okay, guys, so we're going to do our 1, 2, 3 readings of the week. So get in mind whether you're going to be number 1s, number 2s, or number 3s, and then we'll line you up with a reader.
Okay, I'll go first for the number ones.
All right.
Okay, if you chose number 1 this week, I'm reading from the Healing Light Tarot by Christopher Butler. Oh gosh, I got the card with the roach on the back. Every time I get this card, right, Jen? Are you on here? Jen,
she's
Leslie? Yeah, so it's the 10 of Swords. And it's like, can you hold this up? Okay, so it's the despair card for those of you. Okay, so here's doesn't that look like a roach?
It does.
Okay, so here's the thing. There's a critter, what we were just talking about, is for number 1s, just beware of that. Beware of the energy you're picking up this week and come in and get a healing. I'm not kidding. You want to get that roach off your back. They're gross. I love these cards, but when I see this one, I'm like, it's the roach card. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, I think all the number 1s need to be making appointments to get because we pick up
An appointment with
energy.
Pest control.
Appointment with Roger,
Yeah.
if it's a roach, for sure, because I don't want to touch it. All right, here we go.
All right.
I'm serious though.
Who's 2s?
That's what I got.
Who's number 2s? You pick.
Matt, and then
right.
you'll wrap it up.
Okay. For number 2s this week, it's a very simple message, but I think a good one. It is breathe more deeply. And, I said at the top of the show, we were talking about the weather coming in. I had a lot of work actually on my plate today. But when I saw it starting to get a little dark and stormy, I like storms, and I said I'm just going to take a break and I'm going to go outside and enjoy it. And even though it didn't rain, I did get to just spend that nice half hour, 45 minutes outside and not worry about work or anything like that. So I think probably either if you're not feeling it now, you may be feeling it later, but at some point this week, or maybe every day this week, you need to take some time out for yourself, breathe more deeply. Just maybe that means meditate, maybe that means go for a walk, maybe that means whatever, but focus on that this week because it sounds like you probably need it.
And that's a form of energy work too.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad advice ever.
No.
I don't think, but especially number 2s this week, pay attention to that and take that time when you might not otherwise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, number 3s. I got the Tower card for you guys.
The Tower and the Roach.
Tower and the Roach. Yep. So I got
I'm
the
glad I
Tower card.
picked 2. What about
Yeah,
y'all?
I would have said she saw it, but I left the card face down. That was the reason she was letting Matt go number 2s because y'all know she picked number 2s. But for number 3s, it's actually not scary. What I get from this is that obviously there's some change things coming. It's some forced changes. Though is what I get. It's changes that are coming for you, but in a good way. So when this week, when you feel these things starting to kick in, it's like, wait, what was that about that Tower card? Take a step back. Take a step back and really evaluate everything happening, everything around you, and just really make a decision of how you're going to move forward with this. Because this change is, even though it's going to be a sudden change, is not going to be a bad change for you overall.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I got.
And I had something that of course I forgot it. But as far as making appointments for energy healing, you can always call and ask questions about, we keep it pretty simple, about what kinds we offer. A lot of times I know Mary told me that they'll ask her what are you going to use? And she just uses what she's drawn to use at that time for the person. And that's kind of what I do too. So I would really encourage everyone and I'm serious, to make an appointment with Soultopia and I'm saying it because I really do believe we really need them, or if not here, somewhere to get energy work. Just make sure it's a reputable place.
Yep.
Very, very important.
Yep. So, well, thank you for joining us tonight. And
Are you
Matt?
going to tell them really quickly about signing up for the conventions? coming up?
So, okay, yes,
please?
I can tell them real quickly.
Okay.
So we still have one more convention this year, plus at the beginning of next year, we have another start of the conventions. So the one coming up, it'll be the end of September, last weekend of September, is in Portland, Oregon. It's called NWTS, Northwest Tarot Symposium, and that's actually how you want to look at it, nwtarotsymposium.com. You can see, we don't have listed yet the speakers onto the website. I will be working on that though. But if you go to the Facebook page, they're picked, and they're starting to announce who they are. And on Instagram and on Facebook, even on the Soultopia page, we've posted it on there. But get your tickets, okay? That's going to be an event because it's a little different than Tide because that one's been going on for a while. There's a lot of followers, so it's an amazing event. What's the best part about the events is you get recharged. You feel so refreshed. You've learned something, and you feel recharged and refreshed when you leave. And you're connected. You're so connected of energy with everybody else and the energy of that event. Then that's the most important part.
All right.
It's because you feel great going into it and even better coming out. So you have that. Then you have Reader Studio. And we actually do have, the website's not quite got all the information on it. But if you go to readerstudio.com, thereaderstudio.com, it's going to kick you into the tickets is what it's going to do. It just has a follow link, and it's just going to kick you right into the tickets to buy your tickets. That always sells out.
Yeah,
it's in New York City. It's in New York City. It's actually the last weekend of April 2024, and you need to get your tickets and your hotel room. If not, you're going to be at a hotel down the street because
Seriously.
The hotel only has a limited number of rooms, and you can only share rooms with so many people before it's overfilled with rooms or overfilled with people in the room. So make sure you get your room and make sure you get your tickets. And you can go to thereaderstudio.com and it'll kick you directly to the ticket links. If you go to the Reader Studio Facebook group, okay, you can actually see some of the people who have already been picked that are like our main stage speakers and some of our Divination Day speakers. But listen, guys, that event is a full packed day event starting early crack of the morning all the way till midnight. Stuff is happening, okay? So you want to make sure that's actually one that is going to be amazing. So get your tickets now before it's sold out to thereaderstudio.com, and that's the last weekend of April 2024.
Yeah, great job telling all that.
And because this weekend, Michelle and I we'll be gone this weekend. There's nothing happening except in
all the readers and
readers and healers, or be it Soultopia. Wait, what is this weekend? The following weekend is actually a meditation. We'll be sending information out about that.
Yeah, so we're going to be getting the classes back on the schedule too. I'm finishing up my second draft of my book. It's hopefully. And so we're going to the International New Age Trade Show Thursday, and that y'all were all nice enough to vote on for the COVER Awards, Coalition of Visionary Resources. We will be winning 5.
Yep.
It just depends on whether we win gold or silver, on those. And that's where we're going. We'll bring back a lot of great items for y'all, or at least have them ordered, because that's where we go and find all the new products. We look forward to that going this week.
All right. Well, that's it for the night. Make sure you give us a like, follow, share, because all your friends need to know this stuff too, okay? It's not just for you. Share it with everybody. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great week. Thank you much for joining us, and we'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to SoulWhat, a Soultopia production. If you're intrigued, searching, or looking to schedule a reading of your very own, visit us in sunny Dallas, Texas, or visit us online at facebook.com/Soultopia Holistic Boutique. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting platform to be the first to hear new episodes every Tuesday at 7:30 Central.